YB stays on your neck.
Will Anthony Joshua ever fight Fury or Wilder?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's like asking will a certain football team play another certain football team? Of course, we're in the same division, we're in the same era, we have to fight each other. And then we're all big draws in the heavyweight division, so it'll be massive. I'd love to fight Fury, I'd love to fight Wilder, I'm fighting Andy Ruiz next.
Yeah.
And the list goes on. There's so many out there that I'd love to compete with.
If you had to pick one, who would you rather fight out of the two? Because they're fights that all the boxing fans want to see. If
I always
was pushing you
change
for a
it,
name,
but right now I'll say Fury in Wembley because it's like the best of Britain.
that's the dream fight for you.
Yeah, one of them, yeah. But if right now you're asking me, Tyson Fury, the best of Britain, it is massive, I think. I think that's a massive fight.
Okay.
Yo, my dons, make sure you hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and obviously hit the bell for notifications. So, a few days ago, I did a video covering AJ's Sky Sports interview, where he talked about how he wanted to be deep inside Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury's sweet little coochies. Now, since that video's come out, there's been a few men on the sidelines hating on it. Not on the video, but hating on what AJ said. Now, I'm sure there'll be people out there who say, "Oh, what? Oh, YB's running. YB, you're running to AJ. You're running to AJ to help AJ." No, the YB's coming here to correct. What's the word? To correct narratives that are wrong. You've got Hatman out here saying, "Oh yeah, Joshua might be scared of the right hand. Yeah, he might be." Wait a minute. This is what I don't get about people. Let's go by who has sent contracts. How can AJ be scared of the right hand? He was begging for the right hand, was he not? In fact, he wanted the right hand so much, he paid 120 million for the right hand. So don't talk about, "Oh yeah, AJ's scared of the right hand," or oh yeah, I'm sure Eddie Hearn ain't gonna want to fight after the Ruiz fight. Oh yeah, they clearly want the Fury fight because they're scared of Wilder. No, they want the Fury fight because they want to get a piece of Fury before he gets completely dusted off. Like I said, listen up very carefully on this one. After the Fury fight, the YB came out against Wallin. The YB came out and told everyone, "Listen, the YB is an insider. He knows, he's got, like I told you before, I've got these special skills where I have a special brain. I'm not a fighter, but I've got a brain. I can smell it. I can smell weakness on people, yeah? And just like AJ, it's not a coincidence you got AJ wants Fury. Wilder wants Fury. Ruiz wants Fury. Dillian White's been wanting Fury. Tony Bellend wanted Fury. God knows, out two years ago. Everyone wants him. So when AJ comes out and says, "Yeah, I want to do Fury at Wembley," it's got seconds later he said, "I also want to do Wilder." That's got nothing to do with, "Oh well, he's scared of the right hand all of a sudden." He's realised, listen, Fury's almost finished. So logically speaking, why would he want to fight Wilder first? And in the meantime, Fury get knocked out by, it could be anyone, get knocked out by Ruiz, but never mind that calibre of fighter. Chisora would fill him in. Seriously, if I am wrong, if Fury isn't shot, then he probably could beat Chisora. But I'm saying, if I'm correct and Fury is shot, as the stats have shown, Chisora will beat him. Yeah? Put Chisora in with him on that night against Wallin. Chisora wins in devastating fashion with a stoppage, 100%, no doubt about it. So with that in mind, it's not rocket science here. AJ's thinking, wait there a minute, what do I want to do? Knock Ruiz out, knock him spark out, and then go and fight Wilder. In the meantime, Fury's value completely deteriorates. That fight against that Fury versus AJ card, or AJ versus Fury card at Wembley, bearing in mind you've got two fights there, because AJ will knock him out the first time, then knock him out the second time. Them two fights, I'm trying to think how much value it will generate. It's got to do three. If bearing in mind AJ versus Clip did 1.5 million buys, I reckon it could be 3 or 4 million in the UK. Maybe not 4 million, maybe 3 then. But between 3 and 4 I'd expect. If it only did 2, I'd be shocked at that. Bearing in mind as well, AJ versus Parker, no one knew Parker, that did 1.5. So I'm honestly, I'd say it'd do about, I reckon it'd do about, 4 million. Let's say it does 4 million. Let's go on the higher end of things. Let's say it does 4 million homes. Let's say the price is £25. There's 100 million there. £100 million pounds in cash. Cold, hard cash. AJ at that point, AJ's going to be at least 60%. There's 60 million, 2 fights, 120 million. Let's say he does less than that. So my estimates there come to AJ making on his own 120 million. Let's call it around 100. So is he going to want to throw a $100 million fight away? Let's get it right. If Fury Fury's only good now because he's undefeated. Oh yes, lineal champion. Oh yes, that's the only reason anyone wants him. If once that middle tier of fighter get hold of him and fill him in, that's gone then. Yeah, he'll probably still do 1 million pay-per-view buys when he's completely finished between AJ and Fury, but that's because AJ's doing 1 million versus Povetkin. So that's not like record, that's not doing very good numbers. So in my opinion, not only business sense, but in terms of fighter sense, AJ has always wanted the best fighters. Have you not? And this is what makes me laugh about Hatman. He makes out he knows boxing. You know AJ wants the best fighters. Why would he want to fight a Finnish Fury for? And besides, AJ, what frustrates me is, in that same interview, AJ even told you he wants Wilder as well. And let's get it right. Would AJ be so bad to choose Fury first? What's Wilder done, by the way? What did Wilder do? Did Wilder choose Fury first? Oh, wait, yes, he did. So it's all right for Wilder to choose Fury first, and everyone still wants to suck his right hand off. Oh, yes, AJ's scared of Wilder's right hand. Well, why aren't you talking about what Wilder's scared of AJ then? Why didn't Wilder fight AJ instead of Fury? I'm sick of the double standard for me. It's all right for Wilder to fight Fury, but the minute AJ wants a piece of the dude who's half finished, all of a sudden there's a big issue. And besides, you've got to realise that they were talking about fighting Fury next, meaning AJ, for all we know, well, I don't believe Fury will win the fight, but for all we know, AJ could be fighting Fury for the WBC belt anyway, could he not? Because if Fury beats Wilder, AJ fighting Fury next would mean that Fury would be the WBC champion. So for me, for people like that dude there to start drawing speculation about, oh yeah, this proves that AJ and Eddie Hearn don't want any part of Deontay Wilder's right hand, that's naive at best, because for all we know, well, many people believe that Fury's going to win that fight. Many people believe he won the first fight in devastating fashion. Therefore, is it a big stretch to assume that if AJ beats Ruiz and Fury beats Wilder, then that would be the fight that would happen anyway, wouldn't it? You wouldn't be talking about fighting Wilder first. You have to draw huge leaps of imagination to say, yeah, well, Wilder's going to win, and if AJ doesn't want to fight Wilder next, that means he's ducking. There's too much speculation going on. You don't know what's going to happen. If Fury does win, then there's no problem. It makes pure sense for him to fight Fury first. And you got to remember, in terms of what's gone on, Wilder has categorically ducked AJ. So from there's so many, I've talked so many point of views here which support AJ in as much as support AJ's decision to fight Fury first. But not only that, the other point is, let's get something right. How long has AJ been chasing Wilder for now? How long? 2 years, offer after offer, especially in the last year, we'll give it. Let's say within the last year. And for me, people can bring up the $50 million offer. That happened decades ago. How my brain works is, it works in chronological order. If you send an offer 10 years ago, and I send an offer 2 months ago, the 2 month ago offer completely outranks the offer from 10 months ago. Who cares about that 10 years ago? Who cares about it? No one does. Yeah? Even if someone did duck the offer 10 years ago, it's irrelevant. That's in the past now. What's happening now? Who's ducking what now? So with that in mind, Wilder ducking record money, literally accepting peanuts, turning down gold coins for peanuts. That's exactly what he did, by the way. So with that in mind, even if AJ was to say, you know what, Wilder, even if Wilder did beat Fury, and AJ said, you know what, Wilder, you've played too many games now, I'm going to go with Fury, assuming Fury wants to fight. I don't blame him. I don't blame him, because if Wilder does beat Fury, there's no telling that he's going to want to fight the AJ fight or Dillian White fight, or more particularly the AJ fight. There's no telling him. What makes you think he's going to do that? Because guess what? He was WBC champion before he fought Fury and didn't want the fight. So with that in mind, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh AJ, you must carry on chasing around a pussy who don't want it. I'd go to who wants it next. And if it turns out that Fury wants to fight next, and he's available and wants to sign a contract and don't want to play, oh man, Anthony Joshua, Eddie Hearn, they so disrespectful. I'm not fighting AJ. I'm not fighting Eddie Hearn. They're too disrespectful. I'm tired of talking about them games. So never mind AJ being in the middle of it, having to navigate it, send higher offers, people not replying to business people, so-called business people, so-called the best of business people in our game, and not replying to emails and refusing to talk. I don't blame him. Go to where the fight is, and I'm not being funny. In my opinion, knowing how vulnerable Fury is, he knows himself. Like I talked about in the video, when Fury's fight finished, he put an Instagram video out and he started saying, oh yeah, I feel the best I've ever felt, all this business, I'm back in the gym, I feel wicked. That to there looked like to me a man who's trying to convince himself for something that's not there. So with that in mind, I can see a situation where he's thinking to himself, we know Fury loves money. Many people before this ESPN deal were talking about, oh yes, Fury loves to box and all this business, but we know now he loves money. So for me, I won't be shocked at all to hear that he wants the AJ fight ASAP, no Rocky. But anyway, listen. AJ wants them all. That's what we do know. Let's go by what's actually happened. How many offers? You know what? Let me finish on this, Hatman. Never mind. Oh yeah, we're not sure if AJ wants the right hand. Let's just finish on this. How many offers has Wilder ever sent to AJ? I don't mean, yeah, man, there's $50 million in a bag. There's $50 million in a bag. I don't mean Instagram posts. I mean, how many times has Deontay Wilder's business team, not his Instagram account, how many times have they sent an offer? Not only sent an offer, how many times have they agreed to sit down? Let's get it right. When Wilder allegedly sent the $50 million offer through Instagram on an Instagram live video, what happened next? Eddie Hearn said, yes, let's sit down. Can we sit down, Winkle? Can we sit down, Gaiman? Oh no, man, you gotta accept the offer within 2 hours. There's no sit downs. That's what literally happened. No word of that's the truth of it. Shelley Winkle refused to sit down. You must accept first. That's what he said. We said we want to see an escrow. No, you got to trust our business reputation. That's what they said. But you got to remember, Wilder's trust. People say, oh, you know how Gaiman can get the money. We knew how Gaiman could get the money for Floyd. That's because Floyd was doing 2, 3, 4 million pay-per-view homes. Wilder ain't. So for people to sit there and say, oh yeah, you must trust Al Gaiman. Yeah, if AJ was fighting Floyd, I'd trust him to have $50 million there. I'd trust him to have $200 million there. But for Wilder, a dude who ain't never been on pay-per-view before, or had one pay-per-view that brought in less than the $50 million you're offering, I'm sorry, it's not a stretch to demand for some proof of funds there. But besides, they didn't want to send proof of funds. They didn't want to send a meeting. They didn't want to talk. They didn't want to do anything. Comparatively, AJ, on the other hand, has sent Wilder offer after offer. Eddie Hearn's begged to sit down with them, begged to get that right hand that you so talk about AJ being scared of. Not only Eddie Hearn, John Skipper, the so-called Magic Man, had to come in. The same man who signed Canelo, the same man who signed Golovkin, goes in there with Beyonce, literally diva Beyonce, and can't get a deal done. And he says himself, I'm completely sick of the Wilder situation. Because these so-called businessmen, Winkle's so old and senile, I don't think he knows the wood from the trees, to be honest. And Gaiman, he's just completely lost his head. Absolutely lost. He's just completely lost he's like Frank Warren. Al Gaiman reminds me of the Frank Warren of the USA promotion business. Completely sour at the fact Eddie Hearn smashing it in the US. Anyway, listen. This weren't a long video. Well, it was. It was what it was. At the end of the day, AJ ain't scared of no right hand of Wilder's. Yeah, even if like I said before, anything can happen in a fight. But this, for me, for people to sit there and speculate about what AJ does and what AJ doesn't want, the man's just had it lost in devastating fashion against Ruiz. Many people, many great champions said, even Lennox Lewis was saying, oh yeah, he needs to go away and take a warm-up fight and whatnot. And many people think that's a good idea, but for that man there to lose in that fashion and come back 6 months later straight back in, when the great Lennox Lewis lost for the first time, he didn't get straight back in. He had 2 or 3 warm-up fights and then fought the guy again. So for people to sit there and talk about, oh yeah, he's scared of this, he's scared of that. No, I'm sorry, that don't wash for me. Not based on what he's doing. He fights the best back to back to back, and when he does lose after fighting the best back to back to back, he's straight back in there, back to back to back. So for me, he's built up enough credit and clout for me to trust that he's on it. He's on it like a car bonnet. And for anyone who don't believe that, that's your right to do that. But you're fully gassed.